Because of a spate of interest rate hikes coming in. Remember, it started with Canada and Australia earlier in June. And now we've got Norway, we've got the Swiss National Bank, we've got the Bank of England, and of course, Turkey is an outlier with a 15% rate that they announced yesterday. Latha is here to make sense of all this drama that's played out. Latha, over to you. I mean, 4 banks, 24 hours and so many rate hikes.
Absolutely. The extent to which central bankers are now worrying about inflation and are relaxed about growth is what comes out. But more importantly, the worry about inflation. It's not actually for 5 central banks, because even the ECB did raise some kind of rates. But the 4 big central banks that raised rates, Bank of England by 50 basis points, taking the interest rate over there, the benchmark rate to 5%, which is the highest since the global financial crisis, 2008. And that's because their inflation came in at 8.7%, totally unacceptable. The other one that hiked rates was Swiss National Bank. That actually was the one that was lesser expected, simply because Switzerland is the country with the lowest inflation. But even over there were people who were expecting even a 50 basis hike. The Swiss National Bank had indicated it would raise rates. Norway's central bank, called the Norges Bank, has upped rates again by 50 basis points. And this, again, like in England, is taking the overall rate to 5%, which is a 15-year high, highest since 2008. But the outlier is the Turkish central bank, which has raised rates by 6.5 percentage points. Yes, you heard it right. 650 basis points, with the interest rate going up from 8.5% to 15%. Of course, that's because inflation is running at 40%. Expectations among the local businessmen was that they would raise it to 20% because inflation is at 40%. But the most important part is it signifies a U-turn in Premier Erdogan's policy. He had followed an unorthodox policy of keeping rates artificially low when inflation was running, between 20 and 40%. It's clearly an indication that the policy has not worked, and therefore more orthodox policies coming in Turkey as well. Some international experts have also been appointed. Among the other central banks, which is not exactly their benchmark rate, it is ECB, which has raised its deposit rate by 50 basis, and it has signified that it is not done, or hinted that it is not done with rate hikes. Among those who spoke, Jerome Powell made a testimony, completed his testimony to Congress on Wednesday. And among the last thoughts was, if you are guessing that we are increasing rates, then that is a very good guess. But for what it is worth, he did say that it would be at a careful pace. So perhaps not rapid or consecutive increases in rates. As you remember, the dot plot in the previous FOMC meeting had indicated 2 more hikes from a majority of 9 out of the 18 FOMC members. And finally, India's Monetary Policy Committee actually had more people saying that they would like to see inflation at 4%. Until now, we had more of the RBI members saying it. But yesterday, in the MPC minutes, we saw even Jayant Verma, the external member, and Shashank Abhide saying that they're not comfortable with inflation at current levels and that they should see it at coming towards the 4% target. There was only one member, Ashima Goyal, who said that very high real rates can be dangerous. Real rate is the difference between the nominal interest rate and the inflation. Especially if you look 1 year down the line, Ashima fears that it could rise to 200 basis points interest rates over inflation, and that could be dangerous. But what is the result of all this? The result of all this is, of course, there is a bit of risk aversion globally. The dollar has become stronger, and most Asian currencies are weaker. India, for instance, had to follow in the footsteps of yen and yuan, by which it is impacted, and the rupee also is weaker.
All right, Latha, thank you very much for telling us all of these big headlines. It was really important. If you're wondering what's been scaring the bulls every time we get to